When you hear these hip-hop stories and they keep telling you the story of Biggie and Tupac and some shit like that, you never hear names like Jake being included.
The fucked up thing about that whole Bad Boy Death Row shit was that I invited both of these to my birthday party, and I don't know what the fuck happened. Hey, oh yeah, I got it.
P. Diddy was there, other celebrities and stuff. Suge pulled up, it was just him and Jake.
Suge and Puff got into a screaming match, and it looked like it was getting serious.
It was always like something between them. Suge came to me that night, going around the party, what he used to do with the cigar and just kind of like, be the big guy in the room,
Jake was the first time rap turned into street.
I heard a bunch of commotion and people running and screaming and whatnot.
Let's go back to one of hip-hop's most infamous feuds, the East Coast versus West Coast rivalry. Many believe this explosive conflict led to the tragic deaths of Tupac Shakur and Notorious B.I.G. But the real mystery remains. Where did it all begin? At the center of this firestorm was a man known only as Big Jake.
My life at this point, I'm making a transition to do positive things and try to alleviate a lot of the...
Big Jake was a prominent figure in the OG Peru gang and served as a close friend and even bodyguard to Suge Knight of Death Row Records. In December 1995, a birthday party thrown by Jermaine Dupri brought both camps, Death Row and Bad Boy Records, together, with Suge and Diddy both in attendance. Tensions were sky high and eventually erupted.
Little words, right? And they went outside, and they were in the middle of the street.
They were in the middle with Puff
The
and
middle
Suge?
of the street, Puff and Suge.
Wow.
Outside in Atlanta.
And this is at your party?
Yeah.
Is it a calm conversation or they?
No, it's not a calm conversation.
Okay. But
It's
not
a
just them.
It's a very hostile conversation.
Okay. And their cruise is
Ain't no crew. I mean, Suge has got one person. Puff got a crew.
By the end of that fateful night, Big Jake had been shot and ultimately died from his wounds. The man blamed for the shooting? Allegedly, it was Puff Daddy's trusted associate, Anthony Wolf Jones.
And next thing I know, Wolf, rest in peace, he let off a shot and let off a couple of shots, and Suge Man got right there in Atlanta.
This incident is widely seen as a flashpoint that set the East Coast, West Coast war ablaze, sending shockwaves throughout the entire hip-hop scene.
That was the beginning of that whole it started at the Source Wars, but I'm saying once it got real.
So you're saying like Big and maybe Pop might have been like.
They ain't had nothing to do with this.
Yeah, but it affected
it went into that, but they ain't had nothing to do with this. Right. This was all like CEO to CEO.
The details remained murky for years. Rumors long pointed to Wolf as the killer, and even Jermaine Dupri supported this claim in later interviews. But then Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, stepped forward to offer a different version of the truth.
Did not shoot Jake. Wolf was close to Suge when Jake got shot. Case in point, you understand? Wolf said he did not shoot Jake. He had no reason to lie. Wolf said he wished he would have kept this relationship with Suge. He had no reason to stop talking to that man because of him.
According to Deal, the real shooter wasn't Wolf, but a man named Jason, who allegedly fired in defense of his girlfriend after a heated argument with Suge, and Big Jake turned violent.
And the dude who shot Jake, yes, he was from the Bronx, he was from the Valley, yeah, he knew Wolf and them, but it was coincidental that Jake came up dead behind that, about an argument over another man's girl, or whatever that.
This feud wasn't just about music or fashion. It was a dangerous cocktail of egos, pride, and rising fame that transformed American streets into battlefields for bars and beats.
That's before them New York niggas is the coldest killing niggas I ever seen in history. That killed that play. It was called the play for the overlay. They started shooting across the street to make everybody look. We looked, the dude came out of nowhere and just touched Jake. And Jake was about 400 pounds. He hit him like what, 4 times, 7 times? 5. I mean, he just kept shooting, just touching him, bop, bop, bop. But the whole time he was looking at Suge, like, you next, nigga. And we like, oh, and I'm standing right behind them. We like, it's happening so fast.
At its center stood two giants, the Notorious B.I.G., East Coast royalty under Diddy's wing, and Tupac Shakur, the bold West Coast icon signed to Suge Knight's Death Row. In 1995, Things reached a boiling point at the Source Awards when Suge took a jab at Diddy, inviting artists tired of executive producers dancing in their videos to join Death Row.
The artists out there want to be an artist and want to stay a star and don't want to have to worry about the executive producer trying to be all in the videos, all on the record, dancing. Come to Death Row.
I mean, the whole crowd started booing, and then I thought to myself, like, why would you do that?
The East Coast crowd responded with boos, but Suge and his crew didn't back down. Later, Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg clapped back hard, making it clear the West Coast wouldn't fold. This was no longer a rivalry. It had become an all-out war on stage and in the streets.
Did a song called Compton out of nowhere. You like New York? Why y'all, why he take a shot? Nobody really rebutted him. Like, they kind of let it slide. And then
Diddy made an effort to calm things down, preaching unity at the Grammys. But the energy had already gone too far. After Big Jake's murder, Suge Knight escalated tensions by bailing Tupac out of prison with a $1.4 million bond, picking him up personally in a limousine. Tupac wasted no time making things personal. His diss tracks like Hit 'Em Up were filled with raw venom, directly targeting Biggie, Puffy, and anyone tied to Bad Boy. The media called it a coastal rap war. Fans picked sides. The feud's impact extended far beyond music. It reshaped hip-hop permanently. On September 7th, 1996, tragedy struck when Tupac was shot in a Las Vegas drive-by after a Mike Tyson fight. He died days later, leaving the world in shock. 6 months later, on March 9th, 1997, Biggie was killed in a similar drive-by in Los Angeles. The case remains unsolved. Rumors swirled around Suge Knight, who had just begun a prison stint for violating parole in February. In a rare moment of peace, Snoop Dogg and Diddy appeared together on the Steve Harvey Show, urging fans to unite. But by then, the damage was already done. Hip-hop was scarred. The truth about Big Jake Robles' 1995 murder remains clouded in contradictory stories. Gene Deal went even further, accusing Suge Knight of slapping Jermaine Dupri that night and calling Dupri a liar who allegedly hid upstairs during the chaos. Deal insisted it was Jason, not Wolf, who fatally shot Big Jake after a fierce fight involving Jason's girlfriend. 9/23/953. Despite all the accusations, no one was ever charged in connection to Big Jake's death. The mystery endures, a dark, unanswered chapter in the East Coast versus West Coast saga. And as the truth continues to unravel, one thing remains certain. This story is far from over. Stay tuned as we explore even deeper into hip-hop's most haunting legends.